So Ted Cruz, in response to Gavin Newsom, governor of California's recent actions in California, trying to work with the authority he has to move the state away from, gas engines over to green energy type replacements and options. And so in a response to that, Ted Cruz is saying, oh, this is so elitist and this is serving the billionaires. And this is an example of how the Republican Party is actually for the working class. And it couldn't be further from the truth, as y'all know. But then it's also funny because he just made that statement that got a lot of attention talking about lazy baristas. And so he's trying to pretend now that, oh, no, the working class, that's our people. And he says in the statement you're about to see here that we are the party of this group. And then he says waiters and waitresses. So now he's trying to pretend that Ted Cruz is the man of the service worker, which we understand is not true, as we'll juxtapose this with here in a second.
In cool air conditioning, saying, let them eat cake, let them sweat, you don't get air conditioning. It's like John Kerry, who flies his private jet all over the planet lecturing people that you poor gritty working class with dirt under your fingernails, you need to go without an automobile. You need to turn your air conditioner off. In fact, you need to just stay home and eat worms. It is truly a contempt for working class men and women, and that's led to the flip, which is today's Republican Party is the party of truck drivers and steel workers and waiters and waitresses and cops and firefighters.
So, as I mentioned, let's see his recent thoughts on, service worker. He said waiter and waitress, and this was about barista, but that's similar in the service industry.
That there is a real risk if you are that slacker barista who wasted 7 years in college studying completely useless things, now has loans and can't get a job. Joe Biden just gave you 20 grand. Like, holy cow, 20 grand. That, maybe you weren't going to vote in November and suddenly you just got 20 grand and, if you can, get off the bus.
So then that's kind of tapping into the argument they've been making that Biden's buying votes, which I think if you want to do good things as a leader of a country and then you get rewarded with votes, cool, that's how democracy works. But it is fascinating that they have this perception of the younger generation specifically of being lazy, and they always talk about studying pointless things. And of course, are there some people who go and spend a bunch of time and take on a bunch of debt to study something that isn't going to get them a good job and then they're in a hard economic situation? Yes, but so many people are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to take the correct steps and still get put in that hard situation. So it's trying to address those problems. And I think so often we throw out the baby with the bathwater and we don't attempt to help people because we're so scared we're going to help people who quote unquote don't deserve it. And I've always thought, listen, if we can do good things for a lot of people, and, things of justice for a lot of people, and around the edges, a handful of people who, are lazy or something, benefit from it or take advantage of a particular program, a particular system. Okay. I would rather get the core chunk of people benefiting from something and there be some, people kind of mooching off the system rather than not helping people at all because we're so scared of the image of there being some dude in the basement who accidentally got too much help from the government or something like that, right? So I always think in those terms. Now, of course, if you set up a situation where everybody now is, for some reason, not being incentivized to do the correct things and all of that based on a program you set up, well, that's a problem. But the examples they cite are the exceptions, not the rule. The vast majority of people who benefit from an action like the one that Biden took are hardworking people who are burdened severely, and it was even harder during the pandemic economically for them. And so now they're in this tough situation. They're trying to get their head back above water and have all this debt. And so you're doing a temporary, Band-Aid for that. And that is the vast majority of people. So you can spend your entire life finding the exceptions and obsessing over them and being so enraged that someone's getting more help than you think they deserve. But I would rather, actually worry about helping the masses. And I really do believe the masses are hardworking and absolutely deserve all the help we can give them. But then, kind of to tag on, I was going to give you a little bit of context about the action he is criticizing by Gavin Newsom. So, placing his executive order on the hood of a red Ford Mustang, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a directive on Wednesday to move California away from traditional internal combustion engine cars. The order calls on the California Air Resources Board to develop rules allowing only zero-emission cars to be sold in the state by 2035. So this is years out from when this would actually be completely in place. And it's not banning gas cars. It's not banning them in the sense of you can't drive that in California, but it is saying let's not continue to produce these here is the goal he's trying to reach. And I think so often it's framed from the right as something against the working class, but as we've seen recently with high energy prices, so often when we're this dependent on gas, on the oil and gas industry, that hurts us severely when things aren't going perfectly economically. And so moving us to where the United States, which would be my dream, is the green energy capital of the world, and we've developed all of this technology, and we're the envy of the world in that sense. And because of it, you're able to get good, affordable green energy and cars that run off of green energy and all of these things without being so dependent or so at the mercy of the global kind of oil and gas market. And so I love the future that Gavin Newsom, with that executive order, is trying to move us towards. And I think getting the government to play a little bit of a more aggressive role in moving us in that direction is absolutely good, because sometimes you just do need a nudge, or a pretty aggressive nudge, a shove by the government to go where we're already headed. Eventually, the capitalistic market that we're in will take us there, because we're realizing this is kind of the way of the future, but it's going a little bit too slow. We got to speed it up. Just like how for so long, including now, we gave subsidies to oil and gas companies. It's time to really invest properly in green energy. And I think Gavin Newsom is trying to, this isn't an investment thing, but move them in California in that direction. And then on a federal level, I think doing everything we can to move us there is actually a good thing. And it'll be, in the long run, absolutely beneficial for the working class. Ted Cruz there being a little bit contradictory, and his normal buffoonish self. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me over on Twitter at Luke P. Beasley. That's Luke P. Beasley on Twitter.